There is a sixth dimension beyond that which is known to man. A multiverse as vast as eternity, as timeless as the Infinity Gems. It is the middle ground between the big two and the indie publishers, between sci-fi and mysticism, and it lies between the pages of the reader's imagination. At the summit of entertainment, the dimension of comics, where a humble service is held. We call this service the Gospel of Comics.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Gospel of Comics. I am your host, the Church of Failure, and with me, as always, is my trusty co-host, Ayrton McCartney. How are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing well, but I think you might be doing a little bit better.
I got an imaginary package in the mail today.
Huh.
Yeah,
that must have been interesting.
Yeah, the mail person walked up to my door with empty hands and said, "Here, I need to deliver this to you." And I opened my hands out, and there in my palms was an imaginary comic book that doesn't exist.
Huh. Now, what's that like to read? That seems like there would be some challenges there.
You know, you would think so, but it actually read just like any other comic book would, albeit with probably better art than most things that I've seen this year.
Oh my god! I can't believe it.
Yes, I know, right? There were pages to flip through, had a cover. It was actually the size of a comic book and not the size of a postage stamp. There were even more than 17 pages.
You know, I would actually be kind of impressed if somebody could print a whole comic book the size of a postage stamp.
Don't challenge somebody, please.
I
don't want
to. One panel per quote-unquote page.
I don't want to pay $37 for a postage stamp-sized comic, Ayrton. Shut up. I'd have to back it just for the audacity.
All right, everybody, watch out for my Indiegogo that will be starting.
Now, not only did I get an imaginary comic book, but I also got an imaginary decal. I have an imaginary bookmark and some imaginary trading cards and a nifty little foil packaging.
Ooh, fancy.
I know. Now, in case anybody hasn't caught on yet, we're talking about Cyberfrog Bloodhoney by Ethan Van Sciver, a.k.a. Caesar, Human Sunbeam, a.k.a. the most charming, elegant, eloquent, yet humble man. He started this Indiegogo campaign sometime last year. He ran a few different variant cover options on it, some for Chromium, some for a team-up cover. And the way the cards were dealt, the team-up cover came in first. And that's what got shipped out first. So being late to this party actually worked out in my benefit. However, judging from the quality of the stock on the covers of these books, those that invested in the Chromium book will not be disappointed.
Well, that's good.
So just as promised, my issue came signed, which I think is pretty fantastic. I also really like the second cardstock sheet that's included in the book. Now, obviously, I don't have a digital version of this, so I'm not going to be able to get the whole thing up on screen. And I'm not doing a cell phone video because that will not do this book justice.
You did post one image on Twitter.
I did of the cover and everything. I guess I can pull that up.
Yeah.
It make me go and pull something down off Twitter and put it up. SJW Spidey, real quick shout out to SJW Spidey, our first official patron. We appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for joining in. And you definitely want to check the mailbox because it's a feeling of Christmas morning when you get this package in your hand. So,
I'm sure.
The first thing that I do want to lead with, and it's one of the more controversial questions that's been on everybody's mind: the paper stock. Now, before I say anything, I want everyone to understand that I, as someone in the print industry, understand how this shit works. And I understand that Ethan Van Sciver himself doesn't run a Heidelberg or, a Mark Andy press He doesn't print these books in his basement, or his mom's basement, as you may say. He definitely didn't print them by his pool, but the paper stock could use a little bit of work. I'm not sure whether it was the storage of the paper after printing, whether it was the fact that they tried to bind the books right after they were printed, or just a bad combination of ink and paper stock used. Now, with that said, I also understand that this is a first crowdfund campaign, so it's a learning experience for everyone involved. I fully expect that Ethan Van Sciver is very aware of the paper stock in this book, and probably going to change some things about the way he prints his future books. I wouldn't doubt it. But having read it, I don't think it takes away from the overall experience of the book at all. Maybe a little distracting, it may be a little disappointing, and it's definitely something that Anti-Comicsgate is going to use for the next eternity to dunk on Ethan. But it's really a nothing burger, in my opinion. And that's honestly the only complaint that I have about this book. The artwork, oh shit, there's Caesar himself in the chat. How's it going, buddy? Thanks for stopping by.
Hey.
But yeah, I fully anticipate that he is well aware of the card stock, or the paper stock rather, and yeah, it wouldn't wrap around the thicker pages. 80 pages is a lot. Yeah, absolutely. And you didn't print them. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. Let me wrench Caesar real quick. But yeah, I definitely understand that. And what I was about to say is that if you had tried to do anything about it, that would have delayed the book longer, and that would have brought on criticism as well. So it was a damned if you do and damned if you don't moment.
And I'm sure you would have rather gotten the book with the slightly lower card stock than not gotten it at all. I don't had to wait another few months to get it, or
honestly, it's not like it's like somebody in the chat says, Robert Grimm, it's not like the big two ever had any printing screw-ups either. It's better quality than a lot of the Marvel and DC books I bought this year. Hands down. So,
hey, my postage comic book idea will be a better quality than most of the stuff the big two have put out.
Nah, I mean, we're starting at a low bar there, but yeah, okay. But anyway, no, 100%. The story is broken up into 3 parts. Battle Dime says, so what's the deal? 60 pages of story or what? About 61, 62 pages of story. Broken up into 3 parts. A nice big chunk. It ends on a cliffhanger. It really leaves you wanting more. And then there are 18 or 20 pages of bonus material, including pinups and covers. EVS says, time wasn't the issue, it was the promise of a wraparound chromium cover, and they wouldn't do a sticker comic. Yeah, I definitely understand, man. I'm not critiquing that as far as, you having anything really done anything wrong. That's the main criticism I've seen on Twitter, and I wanted to address it first and foremost. For me, it's a nothing burger. I mean, the book looks absolutely phenomenal. The artwork is, bar none, better than anything else that I've seen in a very long time. Probably since I read your Green Lantern stuff. But now, I did talk to another friend of the show named Ixel Pierce, and he has read this book as well. And he had a few things to say about it, and the only thing that he really saw wrong was the text in the beginning is a little hard to read in certain places where it's a little blocky. I get that, but I also like the thematics of it. It makes it easier to decipher who's talking in those first couple of panels there. He said that it was hard to figure out how to pronounce these things, and as a Southerner, I can second that, but I mean, we all just kind of make it up as we go along anyway. Like the Invader,
as a Southerner, English is your second language.
That is correct, so. Yes. You guys should just really be glad that I'm not Creole, or no one would understand what the hell I was talking about, ever. But
man, they're fun to try and talk to, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like the Geechee down in South Carolina. Those are pretty great. But the book opens up, and you're met with a character called the Gelsin, and that is the ship that Cyberfrog and Salamandroid arrive on as embryos. They crash into a forest that is uninhabited by humans, and therefore the embryos traveling on the ship come across a Gelsin.
You're getting pronunciation corrections in the chat.
Bezpiz and Chelson. Hey, I appreciate it, man. I love having EVS in here. This is awesome. Kind of like fangirling a little bit over here. Getting the vapors. But yeah, the Vespis are the invaders. Chelson is the ship. It arrives, and then it disperses the embryos. They latch onto a frog and a salamander. Cyberfrog's real name is Trekran, Rhan, and let's see. I believe Heather Swain pronounces them a little bit later in the book correctly, and it's flip through here. It's in the second chapter after Cyberfrog and Salamandroid meet up with let's see, Dadu Ron. Yeah, so his name is Trickron, and Salamandroid's real name is Dadu Ron. So they have real names, but Heather Swain dubs them Cyberfrog and Salamandroid, aka Sal and Froggy, but that's in the second chapter of the book. We're skipping ahead a little too much. Cyberfrog is dropped down onto the planet. Salamandroid quickly follows, and they're both given very specific instructions about being the protectors of the planet and Cyberfrog himself, respectively. So the ship is in direct communication with Cyberfrog. It can upgrade him, give him more powers, and allow him to adapt to certain situations. And the first chapter really kind of goes on to give you a little bit of the backstory of Cyberfrog that I'm guessing you may have missed in the first series. And it also introduces Heather Swain, who is drawn absolutely beautiful. And, I mean, it's breathtaking. It's absolutely gorgeous to just take a look at her for the first time, especially after all the nature scenes and the cybernetic. She's the prettiest face you see of humans when you see her. But it's introduced that Cyberfrog protects her, and they kind of stick together through thick and thin from then on out. And she keeps him fed and housed basically with fried chicken. And just to take a brief aside real quick, for anybody familiar with the House of a Thousand Corpses and the Devil's Rejects and the Three from Hell series of Rob Zombie, Sid Haig, Captain Spaulding, has passed away as of Saturday, I believe. And the fried chicken kind of really hit me in the soft spot when I saw that. With anybody remembering the Devil's Rejects, as he was famous for his fried chicken. Not in this book, Noctaze. Cyberfrog does not sing It's Not Easy Being Green, although that's pretty fantastic, and I would enjoy seeing that in a future issue. But
that would be wonderful.
So after everything's basically established in the first chapter, you move through the second chapter, and I'm not going to spoil the entire story because I believe tomorrow you're going to have an opportunity at about 4,500 more copies of Cyberfrog. But the second chapter is broken up, and it leads up to the climax of the invasion actually taking place from the Vespis. And then the third chapter is the encounter and the cliffhanger climax. So, all in all, I read this book, probably just like skim reading through it without taking in all the art. About 30 minutes worth of read. It's a nice little chunk, Definitely better than the 5 minutes you get from a $5 Marvel comic, so the value is there. But then when you stop and you go back through the artwork, you could probably spend hours just fawning over this book. I mean, the pages that were released even to us backers don't hold a candle to what it's like holding this thing in your hands.
I mean, just looking at this picture of the cover.
Oh, I've got more. I can pull some more up here. There was a very... Go ahead.
I was going to say, just this cover is, looking at this is gorgeous, and there's so much to look at. The coloring, the use of the shadows. I mean, it's fantastic.
Well, that's the brief overview and the synopsis of it. As far as the actual storyline goes, from what I remember of the first series that I read a little bit of, I don't know that Ethan Van Sciver wrote those. I don't think he did. And that was one of the main concerns I had going into this, because I knew that hold on one second. I don't think that Ethan Van Sciver wrote the original series, and that's one of the main concerns that I had was, how is his writing going to be? We all know he's a great artist, but what's his writing going to be like? And I got to say, I was pleasantly surprised. I would have bought this book hands down just for the art. All day, every day. Not even going to lie. But the fact that it's well written, well put together, even had some funny bits of President Clinton and his affair with Monica Lewinsky thrown in there because of the time frame of the late 90s. You did write those. You've gotten to be a much better writer over time, sir. At least from what I can remember. But I don't own them, so I haven't read them recently. But I look forward to reading them when you put out the compendium. So, hands down, big ups on the writing for this book. I was very pleasantly surprised. By the time I got done reading it, I already wanted the next installment yesterday. To know that I'm going to have to wait for Rainbow Brute to complete before we even have a potential second, I don't know, a second installment. It's a little heartbreaking but exciting at the same time. Yeah, Wizard Magazine Nectays. Noctex. Yeah, Wizard Magazine. I do remember seeing Cyberfrog in those, and it was intriguing back then, but I could never track down the issues because my store didn't order it, and I was a kid and didn't know that I could ask them to. But no, the Bill Clinton add-in was pretty hilarious. The fried chicken bit was funny. There's a point where he comes in and he's not even listening to anything that Heather's saying, and he's just looking for fried chicken. But no, all in all, I would say this book it's an 11 out of 10 for art and story.
And for Bill Clinton references.
Absolutely, the Bill Clinton references. The only thing that I get. Oh yeah, Mrs. Church says watching
him handle his book with care, wearing gloves is my favorite part.
Yeah, this is the first book that I've touched have not touched with my bare hands since the 90s, back when all the foil chromium covers. Oh yeah, SJW Spider-Man, the coloring. We're getting there, but the coloring for this book is absolutely just breathtaking. In the back, you have the sketch versions of all the covers, and right next to them, they're full color versions. And the way that Kyle Ritter brings these books to life, I mean, it's magical. It's something that I never would have expected. it really speaks volumes to. I mean, you get so used to the digital coloring that you see in something like Hi-Fi or these colorists in Marvel and DC, but seeing something like this where someone sat down and had the care and quality and just put something together that even the way the word bubbles fade in and out. The coloring takes me to a better time in comicsdom. Yeah, absolutely. The imagery of care he is taking is brilliant. Thanks, Danielle. I appreciate that. Everyone laugh at me. Okay, I don't care. I'm giddy like a schoolgirl, and this is my my first Comicsgate book that I've gotten, and it really set the stage of the excitement that I'm looking forward to the rest of them. I've got Monster MD on the way. I can't wait for that. Can't wait to back Rainbow Brute. I'm going to try and pick up a couple of other books as well that I haven't already backed, and it really makes me happy to. Well, there are, but it really makes me happy to be in a time where comics like this are coming to my door again.
Yeah.
Every
I'm
step
sad I
of
didn't
this.
get a chance to back this one.
Look out tomorrow. I hear
Yeah.
there's going to be 4,500 copies of this book going on sale.
Huh. I wonder if we can get a confirmation of that.
I think I've seen it on Twitter under a certain Ethan Van Sciver's Twitter handle.
Okay.
Is anyone else's screen black? It's showing that I have connection, but YouTube's been kind of screwy lately. So
yeah, my screen's good. I have the stream pulled up. So
okay, I know that Noctex was having some problems earlier, so we're just going to kind of keep trucking and refresh the stream. But I've got a couple of more panels here that we can look at. These are from the Indiegogo. I wasn't going to even attempt to scan these books in, and taking a photo and uploading it just doesn't do justice. So let me go ahead and switch the scene here. There we go. There's another image where Cyberfrog's infiltrating a giant Bezpiz nest, and you can see just all the intricate line work in that nest, and then just the shakiness, I'm guessing, was done in the coloring stage. I'm not entirely sure about that, but just the shakiness of it, even. Like, you can really feel the vibration coming off of this scenery. And I've never seen something like that done before, except in maybe The Flash, when The Flash was moving at supersonic speed. But I don't know that I've ever seen it intentionally done with the background. Maybe it's a printing error. But done intentionally and fittingly in a story for thematic effect. I mean, every inch of this is just so well thought out and put together. It's just...
yeah, that's amazing.
It's absolutely mind-blowing. But... yeah, and here's another good example of the color work. Like, you can see how the color and the art is just drawing your attention down the page.
Yeah.
From the bright colors at the top where he's peeking his eyes over the water to where it just gets darker and darker where he's jumping out of the water, but you're seeing the bottom of that hive land. It's just go ahead.
This goes to what we were talking about yesterday in our reviews with just this is good paneling. If anybody that was watching yesterday's evening show, not the afternoon show, this is good paneling. You can easily follow the flow of what's happening in the scene.
And it's not cookie cutter paneling either, though. Like this, this is a preview of a full page splash that was up on the Indiegogo, and it's one of the most brilliant pages in the book. I think the dead center of the book is probably my favorite, but I don't have an image of that to pull up. So I definitely encourage all of you to go buy this book just to look at the dead center of it, please. So you'll know what I'm talking about, of course. But no, this here, like, you can see just all the finite detail in that background image of the wasp hive, and then the smaller panels just offset of the wasp just roaming around doing work. Cyberfrog hovering just below the water. I mean, everything about this absolutely brilliant. And I think, like SJW Spider-Man said earlier, I 100% would have bought this book if it was nothing but this art with no words in it. I mean, I would have auctioned, or not auctioned, but I would have bid on any of the original pages that I would have seen gone up if this had not been an actual book. But just to have this. Oh, oh yeah, okay, cool. I just got a DM for someone. Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. I'll send you something after the show. I just got confirmation on something. It's unrelated, but yeah, just I got confirmation that something had actually come through, so I will send that to you. Big shout outs to the guy that just sent me that. Thanks. So surprise for later.
I think I might be following the code you're throwing at me, but.
Oh, it's a surprise for later. Like, everyone will see when we finally get it set up, but I don't want to spoil the surprise for the moment. Anyway, back to this. Now, once you get through the main 3 chapters of the book, there are, like I said, between 18 and 20 pages of bonus material, and that bonus material includes pretty much everything from the original images and origin of Cyberfrog, not necessarily, let's see here. Yeah, not necessarily the original pages from the origin, but just kind of a brief back history, some original art from the streams, everything like that. And, I mean, it's just... This is what I felt like I was going to get. I mean, I was completely and utterly happy and beyond thrilled to get this when I ordered this book. I didn't really know what to expect as a customer because this is the first crowdfunded, title that's fulfilled since I've started backing crowdfunding books. Yeah. If there's even a smidgen of this quality in the rest of the project that I back over time, I'm not going to be left disappointed. But
just hearing when you messaged me earlier that you had got this today, that got me excited for some of the projects that I've backed too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, Monster MD is going to be so much more fun to review just because you'll have been able to read it too. And again, I don't want to give the entire story away because I really do think that this is something that everyone should read. But I think the general premise is everyone understands that Cyberfrog comes to Earth to fight off an invading force of basically giant insect wasp, and that's where the cliffhanger is these invasions have happened and some time passes. And
what more could you ask?
There's a climactic event that takes place. Cyberfrog wakes up several years in the future, and the Wasp have essentially taken over, and that's what we're left with. That's what we're going to get going into the next series. It's everything in between, all the little character moments, every panel being just as breathtaking as the next. Like, I don't feel like there's any single panel in this book that was a throwaway panel or just a filler page.
Not just 3 black pages.
Well, there are some part 1, part 2, and part 3 separator pages, but it's not as egregious. There's no black page with a single word bubble on it.
Yeah.
There's no solid black page.
Page of black.
Yeah, there's none of that. There are divider pages, but that's it.
That makes sense, though.
So, Cyberfrog fights white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. I think we'll have to get him hooked up with Carl from Merry Boys to get that crossover to take place. I'm pretty sure they're Catholic, so not Protestants.
Or what if Cyberfrog teams up with the Merry Boys to fight some Protestants?
That would be very interesting, but I don't know how Ethan feels about crossovers. I don't want him to do anything to ruin this formula that he has here. Yeah, Abrams-esque scene transitions, like we were talking about last night. SJW Spidey, absolutely. No, it's not really scene transition. It's literally dividers in between chapters. I feel like if these were individual issues, those would just be the cover to the next issue. So nothing really egregious. It's almost built like a trade. It's just an 80-page comic instead of a full 100-and-something page trade. So I don't know. It didn't feel as egregious, I guess. And there's no double black pages. It doesn't feel like a single inch of this real estate was wasted.
Right.
I think my daughter's upset that she can't come be on the show.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Time for bed. It's late for little tiny chapels.
Yeah.
But as far as the book goes, I can go on and on complimenting it, but if you guys have any questions or comments or anything you want to ask, I'd be more than happy to answer that stuff. I prefer the way Priest does it. Yeah. Everybody, I'm not really big on scene transitions or divider pages, but having read as many trades as I have and the way they divide single issues in the larger formats, I'm used to it and I'm okay with it. I don't feel like it broke up the story too much. I feel like it broke up the story where you were meant to stop reading and take kind of a breath and assess everything you had just read and understand that you were going into the next chapter of the book. So,
yeah, I've read a lot of trades. That's what the majority of my comic collection is, and yeah, I'm super used to that, so that stuff doesn't faze me at all.
Right. So, one thing that I did notice is when reading this, I was kind of crunched for time as I finally got around to reading through it, because what I would do is I would read a page and then I'd sit there and I'd stare at it for 2 or 3 minutes. And I'd just take in all the small detail. Like, you look at this full-page spread that's pulled up here, and I don't have a larger version of it currently, but you look at this full-page spread that's up here, and you understand that a pencil and ink went over every one of those small, finite details. And you think about the amount of care that was given to, just producing these 2 pages of the book. And how long it must have taken someone to sit down and ink that with so much finesse and care.
Can't even imagine.
Right. And it just blew me away to sit there and look at some of this artwork. The title, Bloodhoney, is explained somewhat gruesomely in the middle of the book. And that's utterly fantastic, the way it's explained. Visually, not even they explain it literally in the book, but visually seeing it happen, you can't really brace yourself for that. I don't think that I didn't see that coming in this story. It really gave a ground of seriousness and heaviness to something that was kind of lightweight and airy to begin with as a character goes. And it's almost like we were talking about before, the ability to take a character that's essentially a silly type character or a fantastical type character, and then you, I think these Wasp guys represent door-to-door letters, and Cyberfrog represents the rage toward being interrupted during dinner to hear about their religion of choice. No, gratuitous violence is the Cyberfrog staple, but I think the heaviness of just the way it was done, like, you can do animated gratuitous violence. Like, you can pull out a mallet and hit somebody over the head in an accordion, and it's still not heavy. The heaviness of the way that the Bloodhoney is visually shown is just utterly amazing. Indy 500 fan, welcome to the show. Novel Bro, have you been in here already? Chat's been going a little faster than usual. I didn't know you snuck in.
Yeah, he came in a while ago.
Well,
don't worry.
How's it going, Novel Bro? Good to see you.
I'll let you keep fanning over the book. I'll keep in chat. Don't worry about it.
I'm going to keep doing that. I'm also going to fan over the other things that came with the book, like the trading cards. I've been mulling over.
Tell us about that.
Well, I've been mulling over in my head whether or not to open these trading cards or to just leave them in the packaging.
You want to.
I do. I really do. But I also really want to send it off to just get the package graded and have the packaging sealed so that it can never be opened. I've been fangirling over Cyberfrog for the last 4.5 hours, Novel Bro. I apologize for being a little negligent of keeping an eye on everything and everybody. Ethan Van Schiver came in here, gave me the vapors. I didn't know what to do with my life. Started stuttering.
Past 4 hours. You texted me at like noon saying that it was waiting for you at home.
Oh, no. I texted you then when I was, contemplating just quitting my job to go home and read it.
Marilyn Manson has a song called Bloodhoney?
Apparently, and it has nothing to do with Cyberfrog, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I don't know. If you've heard anything of Marilyn Manson's that wasn't produced by Trent Reznor, then apparently it's not very good. little side tidbit that I picked up from the wife, who knows more about these things than me.
Yeah.
But Compop saying do it.
I think Brian Eno produced some of his stuff, and that's the not good stuff because Brian Eno is a terrible producer.
Now I do have a photo of what the cards look like. If you guys would like to see them, I can definitely pull that up. You think people would want to see what these beautiful promo trading cards look like? I think they're the same in every pack. So someone did see fit to send me these so that I didn't have to make the choice to open mine initially. Yeah. Center that to the screen. So boomer this up. I'm awful, by the way, at doing anything on this show. So there we go. That'll take a minute to catch up, but then it'll be there. Those are the trading cards.
EVS. If you open the trading cards, you'll find out what Cyberfrog meant by that thing Salamandroid does when he's angry.
Oh, I've got the images pulled up. No, I didn't. Oh yeah, that's on the it's on the back of them.
Yes, exactly, Novel Bro. I'm glad somebody else understands. Thank you. Anyways, continue. Has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Not at all, but it's okay. Now, even the trading cards are absolute. Someone sent me these, and it made me really want to open mine. But I'm still on the fence about it. I'm a sealed product guy. Not that I would ever consider selling these things, but I feel like if I open them, then they're not going to be as pretty as they are now. Even though I can't see them, I know they're absolutely beautiful. But don't tell anyone. I won't tell anyone. I do have the images pulled up of what they look like, but I will not share with anyone who has not already found out on their own. So, yeah, there's the images for the trading cards.
Amazing.
Yeah, and those are the two foil covers, if I'm not mistaken. take a look here. Don't be a spoiler like Cecil. I'm nowhere near as cool as Cecil, so I don't know that I can. Yeah, these are the cover images for the Cyberfrog and Salamandroid foil variants, and in trading card form, they just look absolutely amazing. I also have it on good authority that there's going to be a full set of Cyberfrog trading cards, and I'm going to go full 90s mode and probably buy as many boxes of them as I can. My wife is going to hate me.
If you don't open them, how do you get Ethan to sign them?
Ooh, yeah. Well, I mean, I got to find Ethan first. I can't just put a pie out and expect him to just wander to it. Too far away.
Well, if it's a really good apple pie with hobo lifting properties.
No, I don't know. I don't know if he would just, randomly trail to a stray pie. But if I could get EVS to sign them, I would open them right there in front of him and be like, all right, I've been waiting for this moment. I would show up with my little sealed package of all my Cyberfrog swag, and I'd be like, I need you to sign these things. And then he would probably call security and ask them to escort me out because it'd be creepy.
And subsequently dox yourself because you just said that's what you would do. And if you did do it, then, 2 and 2 would be put together and somebody would be filming.
You think I'm the only one that would be creepy if they ever met Ethan Van Sciver?
Well, no, that specific type of weird.
I don't know. Nothing's unique on the internet, Aiden. Besides, my voice would dox me, for God's sake. Who else sounds like me?
That's a good point.
So,
come back.
That's the thing. I can just really sleeve up these cards and take them to Houston to the House of Pies and wait. Kind of like if you ever need Von Klaus to sign something, just find your nearest Chick-fil-A and walk into the bathroom, spin around 3 times, and say his name.
While holding a chicken sandwich.
For him, yes.
Yeah.
The cards do appear to be foily. I have not opened mine yet, Compop. I'm very tempted, but I'm resisting the urge right now because I don't have anything to put them in to keep my kids from destroying them.
Which is fair.
My kids really like to destroy any kind of cards that I get. Trust me, I know. I play Magic the Gathering. So.
Now, could you use these in a Magic deck? And if you got to play one of these cards, as going through your deck, I don't know. Do you shuffle your Magic cards before you play?
You don't get to put these. You don't get to put these in the Magic deck. However, I would use them as tokens.
Oh, I would say but do you shuffle the decks before you play? I've never played Magic. Do you have to shuffle everything up so you can't okay. So if you happen to come across one of these, you just automatically win.
Okay. Yeah, that could be fair. But no, I've already thought of that. If I did open them, I would find nice sleeves for them and play them as tokens in Magic. Just so that I could say, hey, these are Cyberfrog cards. Nobody else has these here. Although I will say, I was at my local comic shop recently, and I have the Medicare hat, right? Not the one that he sells because those suck.
Yeah. He actually sells hats now.
Yeah, they're terrible, but I made my own because I do that for a living.
Yeah.
And someone recognized it as being a Medicare hat.
Uh-oh.
Out of nowhere, somebody's like, did you just make your own Medicare hat? And I was like, yes, I did. So I met another Jim fan out in the wild. We need a Cyberfrog TCG. That's an idea. I would play that. They're not foil? Okay. Okay. So the cards are not foil. I'll get some sleeves and I'll open mine. I might even open them on camera and play the video of me opening them. I just got to get something to put them in so that they don't get absolutely destroyed, and I didn't have time to stop for that today. I was just ready to get home and open up this book. I stopped for nitrate gloves. I did take that time, but I wasn't going to stop any longer. My wife actually brought me the thing to work as I was getting off so that I could open it. And I didn't have to wait to get home. I opened it and looked at it and then went and got gloves and took it out of the packaging. It was kind of ridiculous.
Kind of.
Shut up. No idea.
Okay.
I haven't.
How
I haven't.
often do I get to take the piss out of you?
Fair. But to be completely honest, I just haven't. Oh yeah. You can buy it. All right. I guess this is Jim Shill time. Go over to Mr. Medicare's channel on BitChute, and he has a link, and you can go to his shirt store and buy a hat. I think it's like $10 or $20. A really bad hat, but if you just want a Medicare hat, get one over there. I'm not selling it. He and the artist own the copyright on it. I can make them and gift them to people, but I can't sell them. Novel Bro, I can probably find it in my heart to send you a Medicare hat someday. You've been a real big supporter of the show, but I can't sell those things. That'll just be a lawsuit. Jim needs money to legally combat monograph. Well, this is going off the rails, but
well, what other Cyberfrog swag did you get?
Well, I believe every physical backer got the round decal with the amazing print on it. The ink on this thing. Now I print decals for a living, but this is a actual printed, well printed decal, not one that ran off of a 4-color process machine. And you got the Cyberfrog bookmark, which I will probably be using the next time I have a book that takes me longer than one sitting to read.
Yeah.
That was not this book. I would have just not done the show if I was still reading, by the way. I just want you all to know I love you all, but no, I wouldn't be here. If it was between y'all and Cyberfrog, I would still be reading my book. I literally I haven't been as excited about a comic book in a very long time. And to finally, know that one that I backed was shipping and was coming to me, and it was actually more than I had imagined it being when I opened it up. I can't complain one iota. I do have some notes that I was going to read from Ixel Pierce, since he couldn't make it to the show because of his work schedule. Let's see here. All right, let's see. All right. Yeah, two of the parts that we both really liked was Chelsea when she looked at Cyberfrog and said, "I am your mother. You must obey me." It's absolutely freaking hilarious. And then there's a part where Salamandroid smashes a hole through Cyberfrog's wall. Yes, 17 pages, 3 of which are transitional black pages, and just have part 1, 2, and 3 on them. So really, it's only 14 pages in D500. The size of a postage stamp and 14 pages. We covered that in the beginning of the show, but I know you came in later. Tombstone and Cyberfrog. Now I'm jealous. Damn it, SJW Spider-Man, why you gotta be cooler than me and have more comic books in your mailbox than I do?
I'm gonna assume because he doesn't have 3 kids.
I might do it. But yeah, when Salamandroid burst through Cyberfrog's wall, and they have a whole back and forth about it, and then later on, Salamandroid's like, "Are you still upset about the wall?" And Cyberfrog's like, "Nah, I've moved on." It was just so nonchalant. It was just really good comedic timing. It was really funny. We've covered the font used for Chelsea. It's difficult to read at certain points, but it gets the point across. We talked about the pronunciation of the Vespes. And I'm quoting Ixel Pierce here. He doesn't say it as eloquently as I tried to earlier, but Heather is fucking hot. I will agree with that.
I mean that sounds like Ixel.
But overall, this is just well beyond what I could have expected. Oh, Tombstone the movie. Okay, so you're not that much cooler than me. I have seen Tombstone. I just don't own it. That's a good movie to be waiting for, though. So, yeah, that's like I said, I could probably go on just gushing over this and spoiling it, but I figure you guys should definitely take your shot at trying to get one of the 4,500 copies that are going up tomorrow. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if those all sell out tomorrow. So don't sleep on it.
I'm going to be definitely having that ready to run through when it goes live.
Yeah, I mean, it's $25 plus shipping. I think mine shipped within the U.S. ended up being $35, something like that, with shipping. But it came in a sturdy cardboard mailer. There wasn't an issue with the book. Everything looked good. The signature was in there. Tombstone the movie is not on any streaming services. Yeah, I know. No. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the original, isn't on there either. My wife really enjoyed the series, so I went looking to try and find her a copy of the movie on Blu-ray, and they don't exist. A DVD of it cost me $40.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, some of those old movies, man, they're just getting forgot about.
Is Tombstone really that old now?
Yes, Ayrton, we're old.
God damn it.
Yes, we were children when that movie came out.
Jeez.
But, no.
It's midlife crisis time. I'm going to go find a young, blonde college-age chick and buy a sports car. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. So you guys both have the chromium coming in. That's something to be jealous about. I slept on it too hard. I didn't think about it, and I wasn't really sold on the whole crowdfunding comics thing at first. I didn't know a lot of the creators. I stood behind your boy Zach. I donated to his GoFundMe. For Mark Wade being a giant cuck. But the whole crowdfunding comics thing didn't really bite me until I started watching EVS on YouTube, and I saw him come on Nick Rekieta's streams, a favorite of mine. And, I liked what he was saying. I liked what he was doing. I started following him on Twitter. I found out that he had drawn some of my favorite Green Lantern stuff. And I was like, okay, I can get behind this guy. I can take a shot at this. And then it was like I got a bug. It was like somebody had just stuck me with a disease to just keep wanting to buy good comics from creators that didn't, complain about me giving them my money. It was pretty awesome to buy something and feel appreciated for it.
Well, that happened, after we started doing the show, and you got me into the crowdfunding stuff because I missed doing your boy Zach's first run of Jawbreakers, which I was disappointed about. And now you've got me in the same boat with Monster MD and Grom and all these other ones that we've looked at and all these creators we've talked to. I want to back every single one.
Yeah.
Like all of these guys that we've talked to. I can't afford it, unfortunately, so I have to pick and choose. But
isn't that a great problem to have, though?
It really is.
So,
but it's still this is why, as I think we touched on this yesterday, the future is going to be these indie comics under an indie distributor, and I cannot wait for that day So you can buy these books like as you can afford them and not have to only get them during the crowdfunding time.
Well, I think
But
EVS has stated that one of the big things about these books is they will kind of always be available in some form or another.
yeah.
To me, Cyberfrog is a personal apology from EVS drawing DC books. SJW Spidey says something in the chat that I kind of want to touch on. Mark Waid is such a cuckbag that he burned all of the good faith he built with Kingdom Come. I don't know how much good faith he built with Kingdom Come, because I look at that and I look at Earth X and I say, these stories are very similar, and Alex Ross is attached to both of them. How much work did Mark Waid really do to get his name on that book? Like, how much did he actually write of it? I don't know. I'm not an insider. I don't have any sources telling me that Mark Waid just kind of coattail rode on that book. But it seems to me that that's kind of Alex Ross's signature storyline, is what happens in the far apocalyptic future of this universe. And the similarities between Kingdom Come and Earth X are pretty hard to ignore, even though that Alex Ross has a major writing credit on Earth X, but not Kingdom Come. That's just my 2 cents. I think that Mark Waid isn't as responsible for Kingdom Come as he likes people to believe.
He wrote like 2 pages.
Well, I'm sure he co-wrote the book. I don't doubt that, he did something, but I don't know that it was all his personal brainchild. I don't know that it wasn't, but I like to believe that. I'm sure Kingdom Come probably came out first, but just the idea of Alex Ross being attached to both of them and Mark Waid not throwing a hissy fit saying, "Alex Ross stole my idea," which I'm pretty sure we all think he would do at this point.
In that voice, exactly.
Right, yes. I was actually doing a spot-on impersonation of Mark Waid. If Alex Ross had done Earth X without him, and it was his sole idea, I don't know. It's a lot of crap that I don't want to deal with, and it's the reason that we need a better classic comic, and it's the reason that I was so excited about this frickin' book. This has been kind of a turning point because there's stuff that I loved from 20 years ago up. Absolutely in the industry, but I don't know if you guys realize it. It's just harder and harder for me every day to be excited about the drivel that comes out from Marvel and DC. That's why we don't cover it a lot. And when we do, we usually make fun of it.
Yeah, we haven't, besides the first 2 issues of Hickman's X-Men, we haven't really, and unless we're going like way far back, like the first appearance of Justice League with Starro.
Yeah, we'll
occasionally just tear it apart.
Right. I mean, we'll occasionally look at something like that, but I don't know. It's not really for me anymore. And I think that the ability to back creators like Ethan, like, anybody in the CG movement, in the indie comics movement, regardless of how you feel about the politics of it all, or, who likes who and who doesn't like who, that doesn't really concern me. What concerns me is getting quality books like this delivered to my door.
Yeah.
When you can look at artwork like this, and I've got some artwork pulled back up from Cyberfrog, but when you can look forward to artwork like this coming to your door, the weight doesn't matter. The internal conflict doesn't matter. I mean, they're not attacking me. What do I care? If they did, maybe I would have a problem with it, but I don't think that would take away from the fact that I would still look forward to artwork like this. And, I don't see them just coming outright and I don't see Ethan Van Sciver coming outright and attacking me for no good reason. Pretty sure I'd have to do something to piss him off first.
Called his mother a whore, right? That's how that works?
I think so. Yeah. The stream may have just F'd for a minute, but I think we're good. I think we're back up.
Okay.
Yeah. The stream effed for a minute. If you guys need to refresh it, do that. It just dropped connection for me because my internet hates me.
And
for
I've
me,
actually been having decent signal and audio lately.
Shut up! Don't jinx it.
I
For
just
me,
lose service just entirely after that.
Your iPad just catches fire. For me, Cyberfrog has set the bar for
my
comic.
service just went down 1 bar after I said that. Okay, sorry.
For me, Cyberfrog has set the bar for how comic book artists shown how much better creator-owned books are, and bonus triggered SJWs. Yeah. I like how everybody's saying what Cyberfrog means for them, and I really like that because you know I know it's just kind of a small chat. I don't have EVS numbers, I don't have Nick Rackett numbers, but just the idea of people coming together and reflecting on what this book means for them, how we're all looking forward to something. You know, I've said it time and time again. I don't know if on or off air, but the indie comics movement means different things to different people, and that's okay. Yeah. But the main thing about it is that this book made almost $1 million. Every one of those dollars came from somebody that wanted to hold that book in their hands and own it for themselves for one reason or another. That wasn't $1 million to comic stores to hope that someone picked it up off of a shelf. You show me a book at Marvel and DC that has the audacity to pull something like that and can perform better. I don't know that you could do that with a Batman book today.
Oh, no, not at all.
You know, I guarantee that if you put a Batman book on Indiegogo for $35 shipped to your door, I doubt very seriously it would make $1 million. I just don't see it.
Yeah. In Indy 500, man, I've bought a comic since 1972.
That's fair.
Well, yeah.
Glad you bought this one.
We get that.
You know, I read digital comics nowadays because it's not worth it for me to buy the stuff and put it in a long box when I'm just gonna want to throw it away later. Yeah, you know, I read them on a digital subscription.
I still can't get past actually having a physical copy of something in my hands, even if it's not good, like the Abrams Spider-Man. But
for $35, Jim Lee better have drawn it.
You know, and there is still, I know the internet's changing, you know, pretty much every retail type market with like Amazon next day shipping and all that stuff. But there's still something about going to a comic book store and, you know, browsing the racks and like, you know, checking out all the different titles and stuff like that. That still appeals to me. It might just be because I'm old.
Yeah, well, I mean, it does to me in certain regards. Like, there are certain books that I want to hold in my hands and read, but this was the first one that I've been excited about opening and holding and reading. This is one of the ones that I would have rather had in a physical form than a digital form because this is a piece of history. You know, this is not only something that I was excited about getting, but this is a piece of history that we were given the opportunity to be a part of. And now that it's all said and done and books are shipping and, you know, fulfillment's being met, and you've seen a lot of the downturn backlog, like it went from, oh, the book's never going to ship, he's only got 17 pages done, all the way to the point of saying, oh, well, the paper's too thin and it doesn't look good. How many times are they going to have to move the goalpost before they realize nobody cares what they say? If you don't like something or you don't like someone, nobody's holding a gun to your head and saying you have to support them.
Right.
You know? I don't understand where this negativity comes from over funny books. people like me love this hobby and this industry, and we don't want to see it die. And people that seemingly do want to see it die are really rather to do nothing than just badmouth every single thing that someone that's trying to appease fans does. I'm sorry, I got a little sentimental there.
Well, that's this whole excuse me.
Yeah.
I don't know. What did you dub the indie age of comics? Is what we came up with.
Yeah, the indie age, the the crowdfunding age, whatever you want to call it, the Comicsgate age. Just the indie age of comics, I think, is what I said, just off the cuff. But it's really a new era for what can be accomplished and what people are willing to support and wait for. Because people used to think, like with Batman, okay, well, we got to have a Batman book out every week. We got to have a Batman book out every month. We got to make sure there's 8 Batman titles currently going on. Same with Spider-Man. There are going to be people waiting on this book for however long it takes Ethan to get it done. For the second iteration of it. I have no doubt about that. And I bet when this compared to, comparable numbers with the second issue drop off of any series, there's going to be less drop off for something like this than there is for a Marvel book. I'd love to see how well Cyberfrog Volume 2 stacks up against any of the Captain Marvel number 2s that have come out in the last 2 years. Any of the 7 of them.
Right.
The only floppy that I have.
I mean, that's kind of the thing.
Sorry. I'm missing something. Jealousy. I'm not sure what jealousy is in reference to, but. But no, go ahead.
I mean, what were, because we were just looking at those ship numbers for all of the big comic book publishers. What was it, as of June or whatever, or from June?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what was it?
Oh God, you're asking me to remember numbers?
I remember all the numbers off the top of my head. But I mean, DC shipped 50. Was it 50?
50 titles
in the month of June,
and that was low.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and how many copies of those 50 titles do you think actually sold compared to this? Compared to how many people back this?
Individually, one-on-one, I would say that Cyberfrog probably outsold just about any monthly that comes out for Marvel or DC these days. Unless it's a number 1 of a Spider-Man or a Batman book that people buy and speculate on, or a big issue like a 300 or a final issue of The Walking Dead, something like that. I'm pretty sure this book sold something like, God, what was it? 20,000 copies to customers' hands. I mean, that's kind of insane to think about.
Right.
I mean, worldwide, yeah, maybe a Batman sells that in a month, but quality just isn't there anymore. Same thing with Spider-Man. Same thing with the X-Men. I mean, even with Hickman taking over the X-Men, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's the best-selling Marvel comic right now. I wouldn't.
Oh, probably. If I wouldn't go on a Wednesday or have them hold one for me, it's out of stock. I have to wait for the second printing 2 weeks later to get it.
Yeah, but how many do they get in? That's the question.
Probably. I mean, it's probably 20 to 40 copies. Maybe.
Okay, so it's a larger store that you go to.
Yeah, it's also the only one around in this area.
That doesn't mean they haven't cut down. I mean, I remember going to a store around here back when they were open, and they would get between 20 and 30 copies of just about everything that came out. And then you just started seeing those numbers dwindle because people just weren't buying. And I don't think that's something that's going to be a problem for this industry anytime soon. I think the biggest... Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, Killer Groove, that one I always call them, even if I am getting there on Wednesday and have them hold one, because they get 5.
Yeah. Right.
They order less than 10 copies of that one. So.
All right, Ixel. Appreciate you coming by, man. See you next time. Ethan and Zach make more money than DC and Marvel creators, so they attack them. Yeah. I mean, we're seeing that in every industry. If you've been following the Nick Rekieta, the Vic Mignogna situation, that's the same thing with him. I mean, the guy gets work, so everybody hates him for it. The guy has fans lined up around the block to come see him. They hate him for it. Well, Ethan and Zach went out and said, you know what, we can do this without Marvel and DC, and everyone hates them for it. And I don't understand that, because their days are numbered too. What happens when AT&T decides that they don't want to support a lost leader anymore, and they're just going to take Batman and put it on T-shirt and stickers for the rest of their days? What happens when Disney says, we're just going to keep making these movies with these characters, but these paper things that nobody buys, we're not going to make them anymore. They don't make us any money. Anything we are still going to make, we're going to sub out to IDW, who has their own artists and their own writers. So sorry, guys. You pack it in. Take it home. What are those creators going to do once they've shit-talked everyone that would be buying their books?
Well, this is the thing. This isn't just the comic book industry. This is a larger cultural problem. Is the demonization of people who are successful or who make it, starting with just this small idea of hey, I'm going to crowdfund a comic book or whatever. How many times have we seen growing up, I was in the indie music scene for a while, and then one of the bands would they would get a record deal and, get a huge 50 city tour and stuff, and I would hear people that I'd gone to shows with and stuff be like, oh man, they were better before they sold out and made it big. They suck now. I was like, it's the same music.
Yeah, they're literally playing the exact same song.
Shouldn't you be happy for them for being successful?
No.
Misery
loves company, Ayrton, not happiness. Get it right. If we're not all miserable pieces of crap, then what are we?
Well, I think it's a larger cultural issue of a lack of that pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps, sort of we've lost that attitude, and that's trickling into every little avenue of our society, including comic books, music, whatever. And
well, I don't disagree. I think that the issue, though, that we're going to start seeing.
Cough, but
you're good. I don't disagree with you, but I think the issue that we're going to start seeing more and more is, I honestly believe that the big two publishers' days are numbered, and not just because of this. This is a complete, this is a middle of the road Comicsgate release, like we've already touched on. Graveyard Shift has already come out. Jawbreakers has already come out. A few other books have already come out. Trump Space Force was a crowdfund book, even though it wasn't technically Comicsgate. Bigfoot Bill from Doug to Naple came out. This isn't a launching tier, but Cyberfrog represents something I think that a lot of people have faith in. They have faith in Eason to uphold his own values and to put the customer first. They have faith in the Comicsgate hashtag to, kind of to keep creator-driven content going. Keep, just fan service. I mean, that's what comic books are. They're meant to entertain people, and they're meant to entertain the people that are willing to buy the damn thing. I'm tired of being told I'm not the target market for my hobby. I'm sick and tired of hearing that, this book isn't for you. Why the hell not? Stan Lee would have never looked at an 8-year-old girl and said, "Oh, sweetheart, Spider-Man's not for you."
No.
This idea...
He would have signed her book and gone Excelsior.
Exactly. These creators that built this industry that are long gone now, and, R.I.P. all the greats. These guys never would have dreamed of omitting anyone from an audience because they wanted their books to get in the hands of as many people as humanly possible. To go out and tell your core audience that they're problematic, that this book isn't for them if they have criticisms of it. That's something that started this whole movement. And the fact that it's finally seen fruition through Jawbreakers, through, obviously Cyberfrog, through Graveyard Shift, through any other books that I'm blanking on because I didn't manage to back them, through Monster MD, through Tales of Nerosville, through Eudaimonia, through any of these great books that are available, through Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. Anybody that puts their heart and soul and listens to their customers, regardless of who they like and who they don't like, they're the future of this industry, because without the customer, everything goes away.
Yeah, and man, my voice is awful today, but
air quotes,
how many
today.
creators have we talked to? No, my voice, not my audio this time. It's different. That's my actual voice cutting out. But that's what happens when you smoke non-filtered cigarettes.
Cigars. Continue.
Yeah. Anyways, we've talked to 20?
If not more.
5 different... Yeah.
If not
low
more.
Ballpark at this point.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. What's their main goal is they have a story that they're passionate about and they want people to read it.
Compop says, Ethan gives us a voice too. He says what we want to say and we love him for it. He gave us something better. It's a good day. Novel Bro says, a new generation of character is needed almost as much as new indie artists are. In of themselves, we don't want our favorites butchered to death, so new indie comics are always necessary. Yeah, we touched on that a little bit before. I think that everybody that comes into the big two should have been stapled down to a 6-issue miniseries of their own creation, if nothing else, to place them and see if they have the chop to tell a story without riding the coattails of a legacy character.
Yeah. We've brought that up numerous times.
Yeah, who says you need a Spider-Man book every month? Why not one good Spider-Man book a year? I'm not talking about a 25 or 22 page floppy. I'm talking about getting a team of an artist and a writer together and letting them take as much time as they need to put a trade paperback or a graphic novel, whatever you want to call it. I know those are two different things before somebody says something in the chat. But whatever you want to call it and market it as, you put together a chunk of a decent story with those characters once a year.
And I would prefer that.
So, I don't know. I think that...
The only reason I'm buying the Hickman X-Men every week is just because I read the first one of each line and loved it and was like, okay, I can't just wait for all of them to come out.
Yeah, you don't have the discipline like I do.
Yeah.
But and I will also take a little bit of credit. How much did I gush over Jonathan Hickman's writing before you trusted me enough to be like, oh, well, he's writing X-Men. I might want to check that out.
Yeah. Well, and we read some articles and saw some previews on it. I was like, okay, I kind of dig, the preview art and stuff like that.
Right.
But I mean, also, how many number ones have we both picked up that we never even bothered grabbing the number 2?
Oh, a lot. And that's kind of the way it goes.
So,
I mean, but how many number ones have we picked up that looked this good? I mean,
that's true. I mean, the presentation of Bill Clinton alone in this page would make me want it.
Absolutely. But that's about all I've got to say. Like I said, if anybody has any questions or anything, I'll hang around for a little bit longer and we'll see if any more questions or comments pop up. Or if you guys want me to get into anything else. But like I said, without giving away too much more of the book, I absolutely loved it. I think you need to get your hands on a copy of it. If you haven't, if you have, get another one for someone else who likes comic books and reinvigorate their love for the industry. But if this is a brief peek of what's to look forward to, EVS can pretty much count on my money every time he puts the project together. As long as the quality stays up to this level, he's got a customer as long as he's putting work out. That's just from me. So, I'll continue to support good work and make sure that at least my money's going where my mouth goes, and toward the creator that wants me as a customer, toward the creator that wants to put out a good product, and toward the product that I don't look at and question my life choices after I've read it, except for the fact that why didn't I back this sooner?
Right.
Oh yeah, EVS and Kyle Ritter really knocked it out of the ballpark. Let me pull my copy down, and we're gonna go ahead and credit the letterer as well before we close up shop here. So obviously, writing and artwork. Credit to Ethan Van Sciver. Colors by Kyle Ritter at Def Colorist on Twitter. And lettered by Somni. I'm not sure who Somni is. Shame on me for that. Also, let's just listen to this real quick. This book is dedicated to Andrea, Hunter, Kaylee, and Ava. To each and every fan who helped Cyberfrog to wake up again. Just take a minute and let that just sink in. When was the last time you were thanked for helping to bring a book to life?
Or really anything like that, not just a book.
Well, yeah, I mean, just as a comic fan, just when was the last time you were thanked for supporting the industry that you love?
Right.
It feels really good. But anyway, like I said, I'm not gonna get back into it because I'll be going on for another hour if I really appreciate everybody.
Thanks a lot, Compop.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Thanks, Compop. Thanks, Ixel Pierce, Novel Bro, Indy 500. Thanks, Caesar. Thanks, SJW Spidey. Thanks, Knothex. Thanks, Danielle. Am I missing anybody who showed up in chat?
Let's see.
Obviously, thank you, Novel Bro. Battle Dime came in earlier to ask about the 60 pages. I think he may have dipped out after that. But yeah, thanks to everybody who showed up. If I missed you, special shout out to SJW Spidey. Again, thanks for your support, man. We definitely appreciate everybody who comes in.
Yeah.
If you're new and you want to check out more stuff like this, we'll be reviewing every indie comic we get in. We do several shows a week, so subscribe if you'd like. You can follow us on Twitter on the links down below in the description.
go mash that like button.
If you want.
Says.
But thanks everybody for coming out, and I hope you have a great evening and a great rest of the week.
I'm gonna do our quick, because I have no shame.
Okay.
If you like this show, if you go check out some others, you like it. We do have Patreon and the Streamlabs down in the description.
I'll check the Streamlabs real quick. Make sure I'm not missing anything. I'm not used to checking it yet, so.
Yeah, we're still getting used to this. This is a new thing.
Miss anything?
We only have one tier. We only have one tier on Patreon at the moment, but we're working on stuff.
We're actually going to add a $5 tier where you can suggest terrible comic books for us to review on stream within reason, as long as we can get our hands on them. But yeah,
that's really the only within reason.
Yeah, we're gonna review whatever awful book you want us to read. It could be a good book, but we assume you want to torture us, and we're gonna let you do that for money.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we appreciate everyone that's come out. If you can get this book, I will be doing it tomorrow.
Absolutely. Set your Google alerts and your notifications. Keep an eye on Twitter. EVS said he should be going live with this campaign tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. And 4,500 of these are going to be left. I do believe that there might be some additional issues available on future campaigns of the first couple of covers, but those are going to be few and far between. But for real this time, thanks everybody for coming out. We hope you have a great night. Thanks for joining us here on the Gospel of Comics, and have a great night.
Good night, everybody.